Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back on another video from Mother's Basement. I still haven't got the light fixed. I can't get the... And today, we are checking out Get Hyped For Jojo's Part 6 Culmination. So yes, during my little break whilst moving in here, they announced Part 6. And I watched the live stream. And then I was like, turned it off. Like, 2 minutes before the announcement came, then I was walking down the street to get something to eat with my girlfriend, and then my Twitter just exploded, and I was like, as if I missed the actual announcement. But this is cool. I love me some JoJo's. Not read the manga, anime only. So as soon as I seen Part 6 was actually happening, I'm like, yes, more JoJo's. Female JoJo, that's going to be interesting. That's new, and yeah, I have no clue. And it says it's spoiler safe. So that's okay with me. Right, I didn't realise how much I talk with my hands until I was seeing my shadow on the wall. Let's get into this. Get hyped for JoJo Part 6 Culmination. I can't wait to see all the... It's taking too long to load the video. Come on. There we go.
Long years of waiting. Now you can start counting from season 1.
Yay!
A lot of JoJo diehards have been. The anime adaptation of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean, has finally been announced. It's got a lot of folks stoked, including this bloke, and chances are good
I'm stoked. I need more JoJo's in my life.
But that may be for little reason beyond the simple fact that it's Mo JoJo, or the slightly less simple fact that it's a girl JoJo.
That's interesting though, it's really interesting.
Valid, of course. Mo JoJo Less Problems is a
very true,
very
true. That's
familiar with
everyone I know says that.
It's pretty dope that Araki took the very obvious representational opportunity afforded by his generational hero concept 2 full decades earlier than Doctor Who, and in half as many generations. There aren't many shonen battle series with halfway decent female supporting casts, let alone leading ladies, so Stone Ocean is bound to stand out in an exceptionally crowded field.
Definitely.
Shonen anime that do focus on heroines tend to be pretty awesome, at least when their adaptations aren't shitting the bed with half-assed, rushed endings.
No.
But that's a slim possibility for a series that's already run as long as JoJo has, and Jolyne Cujoh specifically might just be the coolest heroine in shonen manga history.
Really?
That said, there are many
There's a lot of hype behind it. Like, people have been reading the manga are excited.
This anime, which I'm about to lay out for you in spoiler-free fashion, starting with its story and setting. As you may have guessed from her name, Jolyne Cujoh is Cujoh Jotaro's 19-year-old daughter.
Right,
if you know how much the third JoJo likes to travel and how little he tends to talk about his family or anything besides evil stand users and dolphins, you can make some educated guesses as to how that might have affected her upbringing. After spending her teens as a rebellious delinquent cycling in and out of juvie for petty criminal pleas
she does
for
look cool.
attention, Jolyne tried to clean up her act, but in 2011, she was framed for a murder she didn't commit and sent to maximum security prison. It's worth noting that when this was written in 2000, 2011 was the future.
Of course.
Great Dolphin Street Prison in Port St. Lucie, Florida, to be specific, the name of which is probably the only reason her dad wants to visit her there. It's a sprawling
His design's different every time, I love it.
Like Alcatraz, only bigger and weirder, because of course it is, and full of stand users in both the staff and general population.
Interesting.
Also, of course it is. In fact, it seems like someone is intentionally gathering stand users and stand powers there. Someone with a grudge against Jotaro that Jolyne must pay the price for. Someone with a connection to Dio. In my opinion, there are nowhere near enough anime or stories in general about prison breaks. Real prisons are terribly dull by design, but in fiction, there are few settings where it's easier to build tension and atmosphere. Prison fights and riots require even less justification than normal shonen battles, and if you, like me, are a fan of heist movies, prison breaks are like the Dark Souls of heists. So there's plenty of appeal to the general story concept behind this part, but Stone Ocean is going to be especially satisfying for long-time series devotees. Diamond is Unbreakable is my personal favorite OG JoJo part, and Golden Wind was a ton of fun.
Golden Wind was class.
Stand largely disconnected from the stories that preceded them. Sure, characters from Part 3 made
that was cool.
Both parts were technically set in motion by Dio's actions, but not intentionally. They're just standalone things that happened to happen because some stand arrows fell into the wrong hands, and because Dio fucked like half the people he met between waking up and getting Aura.
Of course he did.
Stone Ocean is different. Its plot directly follows from the conclusion of Part 3, building on the plans Dio set in motion back in the 80s, and serving as a culmination of every big idea the series has presented to this point.
What?
It's the end of the Joestar saga, the last entry in the original JoJo canon, answering long-standing questions and tying off long-dangling plot threads left and right as it hurtles toward a climax befitting a decade and a half of bizarre build-up. Its standing in JoJo canon also positioned it as Hirohiko Araki's last chance to explore the craziest stand concepts he could come up with, and the Supermax prison full of dangerous stand users concept easily justifies every one of those ideas. The prison being in Florida helps too, since it means things can only get weirder when our heroes do finally make it outside. Part 6 contains many of the most fun and creative stand fights in the entire series.
Because we've had some really friggin' good stand fights so far, Jesus Christ.
Tier high concept enemy stands that start around the baseline impossible to explain insanity of King Crimson,
that was insane.
In a positively mind-blowing manner that I cannot wait to see in motion. If you enjoy animated psychedelia, and if you're a fan of this series, you almost certainly do.
Have to be.
This season promises
it's a given, isn't it?
Absolute treat for your eyes. By this point, I've said about all I can about the enemy stands without ruining a lot of fun surprises.
Please don't ruin stuff, Jeff.
Report that, for once, we have a JoJo whose power set is just as interesting as those of her villains. Stone Free is every bit as versatile in combat as Star Platinum.
You would think because of the bloodline.
But it's not confined to basic brawling and physical combat, nor does it need to offset that with a secondary psychic ability so obscenely overpowered that it renders every fight trivial once fully mastered. In keeping with series tradition, it is technically a short-range power-type stand that's very good at punching things very hard and very quickly. Jolyne gets some very good auras in over the course of the series, but her range is a lot more flexible than her father's, because Stone Free allows her to unravel her entire body into silky strings that can then be manipulated at will to do, well, just about anything.
That's what's happening with the skin. That's so weird. That's cool though, but
So
wait to see that animated.
Her powers prove to be pretty useful, especially in navigating and escaping the hostile world of a prison.
Yeah, of course, that's going to be dead handy.
It's not an obvious powerhouse. In fact, it presents a few limitations Jolyne must work around to be effective. But Stone Free also presents her with boundless creative options in combat. More so than most other JoJos, she needs to think strategically to come out ahead in any given encounter, but the possibility of victory is always within grasp. Jolyne's aggressive, abrasive personality means the strategies she comes up with often have a bit of a sadistic edge to them. But considering how intensely hateable JoJo goons tend to be, that only makes
you probably don't mind seeing it.
When she does attain it.
Sounds good.
The fact that Jolyne's stand manipulates her own body also adds a renewed sense of physicality to her fights that's kind of been missing from
since
JoJo
part 1 and 2,
it moved from magic breathing martial
the hamon
arts
stuff to stands,
punch
that's what I've missed.
A trend that Araki kept up after bringing JoJo back to basics with the Steel Ball Run reboot. The Jo Bros who join up with Jolyne over the course of her bizarre adventure are just as out there in their abilities, if not more so. I'd say that this is the best balanced Nakama squad in the series so far.
Interesting.
Parts 4 and 5 did a lot to expand on the creative range of stand powers over Part 3, but with the notable
because Part 3 just started with the stands, didn't they? So it was just starting off.
Fighting Jo Bros' psychic power to this point has still been some kind of weapon. Creative weapons, to be sure, that manifest sound effects, erase physical space, or create 6 tiny guys who banter while they soccer kick bullets around.
They're cool.
But all primarily designed to attack in some way. Meanwhile, friendly stands with less obviously violent utility, like Ayasuji's Cinderella and Abachio's Moody Blues, have tended to be used exclusively in supporting roles. In contrast, Hermes Costello, Jolyne's first ally, has the simple power to duplicate physical objects.
Oh.
Something that can be pretty deadly, but has infinite uses beyond that. One allied stand affects the physical makeup of its user's body, while another lets its user move in ways no one else can. One of them is just a room. It's a subtle distinction, but it feels less like Araki set out to construct a broadly applicable adventuring party for Part 6, and more like he took a bunch of ideas he'd normally use for one-off arcs and ran with them as far as he could.
Cool.
And the personalities accompanying those powers are just as wild and unpredictable, as you'd expect from a squad of inmates. Part 6 has some of the best banter and battles in the series so far.
Banter, we gotta love some banter.
Conflict bringing their A-game in both respects. The writing's not perfect. The overarching structure of the story can be pretty wonky, even by JoJo standards, but minute to minute it's an absolute blast to read, and I'm sure it'll be just as fun to watch. Appropriately, Jolyne is the one who really ties this all together.
Of course, she's the main
her
character.
Swaggering self-confidence.
Nice.
And while she lacks
Stand tall,
great-grandpa
walk
Joseph's
slow.
propensity for profanity, she can
Points.
be every bit as rude and crude in her own way. She's the energetic nucleus of her friend circle, driving a lot of their most enjoyable interactions, and when the time comes to talk down an enemy or do worse to them, honestly, I think most of them would be safer and happier on the receiving end of a Jotaro beatdown.
Oh god.
Jolyne is
She's that brutal.
savage, and
Yeah.
so
Sick. Love it.
unironically cool that Aya Feruz, the Seiyu cast to voice her, who dresses and poses like a JoJo character IRL, said on record in a 2019 interview that she didn't think she'd be worthy of the role, that she wanted Jolyne to be voiced by the worthiest woman in the world, while she observed from behind as a JoBro. Funny how these things work out. Speaking of JoJo fashion, Jolyne is the absolute queen of it. I mean,
she does look cool.
Literally a Gucci model, the only actual JoJo who can make that claim, and second in ad campaign prominence only to Rohan Kishibe, the best dressed man in manga.
He's cool.
Within Stone Ocean itself, every last one of her fits is absolute fire, fueled by the kind of confident posing you'd expect to see from an Araki with 15 years of experience suddenly getting to play around with a brand new body type.
Absolutely boss.
Of course, her JoBros are no slouches in the fashion department either. This prison's dress code is
I love how the evolution went from
lax.
buff to just
Actually,
fashionable.
it's quite strict on paper, but most of the guards take bribes. You'll see. You'll see a lot of incredible outfits over the course of this part, as well as some proper silly ones. For his big finale, Araki pushed the high-fashion absurdity we saw in Part 5 about as far as he did the stand concepts. From whatever the heck that hat is to the big footprints running up his thick mesh tank top, honestly is one of the absolute strangest manga characters I've ever
Looks a bit like
laid eyes
Diavolo.
on. But he still works the hell out of that look. Whether you prefer him stylish or strange, this part is going to give you cosplay inspos for years.
Nice.
Hopefully enough years to hold you over until the absolute hypest thing about JoJo Part 6 being announced finally comes to pass. That being when Part 6 is over, and they finally announce Part 7! Yeah, that's right. After 2 years, we get half an answer to when Stone Ocean, and the first thing I want to say after that is, okay, when's Steel Ball Run, though? Because as great as Stone Ocean is, and it is great, Steel Ball Run is peak JoJo.
Really?
It's stand battles on horses, you guys.
Oh, whoa.
And when David Production and Naokatsu Suda started this adaptation nearly a decade ago now, it seemed impossible that we'd ever get here. Like, yeah, obviously they were going to continue the series through the ever-popular Part 3, and the all-but-guaranteed success of that would probably lead into Part 4, but that had to keep pulling ratings for Part 5 to happen, which in turn had to succeed for us to get Part 6.
Yes.
And most anime based on red-hot current manga don't last even half that long.
That's true, this has been going on a while,
The Promised
hasn't it?
Neverland was huge, and that never got a second season. And yet, here we are. The original Joestar Saga is nearly finished being animated in its near 200 episode entirety. And after that, it's just one more
Amazing, just
indefinite
deny the season
until
2.
the anime onlys finally appreciate the glory, the majesty that is the only other thing I can think to say about that is pizza mozzarella, pizza mozzarella, rella 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 rella, pizza mozzarella, pizza gorgonzola, pizza gorgonzola, zola 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 zola, pizza gorgonzola.
Yeah, okay. No clue. I'm so glad I'm on my only. Boss, I'm really excited for part 6. I'm really, really excited for it. It's class. Like, it's, I love beat JoJo's. That's going to be really, 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 really cool. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I'm still playing catch up with all these videos. I've still not got internet in the house, so I have to go to work early every morning to upload these as well. I'm trying, guys. I'm really trying. So thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you want to discuss in future videos. I'm so distracted by the wall. I need to get this sorted. And I'll see you guys. I saw you guys next time. Bye. How do I do a... Can I do a bird? Can I...